Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to another tutorial on Chiori-chan's web server. In this tutorial, I'm going to be covering a plugin that puts a feature into the server that's not included by default, but definitely a very critical part of the server if you ever plan to do some major web development. So here on the display for the server, I just downloaded a free template, popped it in, and loaded it up, and this is what I got. So a common problem that a lot of web developers will run into is how to repeat a theme across multiple pages without being redundant, because you get to the point with web development that you start feeling redundant. Well, Chiori-chan's web server has an answer, and that just it makes it so much easier. Basic content, very quick and simple. So what we're gonna need here to get started is a plugin. Typically the plugin will be built. If you build from source code, you will find the plugin pre-built under the same directory as the main server. I believe the plugin is also uploaded also to the Jenkins build server, so you can find more information about that elsewhere. But this is going to probably be a little bit of a longer video. I hope it's not going to go too long. I'm going to try to make it as quick as simple. But basically, all you need to do is grab that plugin file and drop it into the plugins folder of the server. And then to load that plugin, it's as simple as restarting the server. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down the server and restart it. And if you look right here, you will see that the plugin was loaded. Unfortunately, I never changed the name, but just take my word for it, Chiori framework is actually the template plugin. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and open up the configuration for this. Listed in here are just 4 simple tags. First one is what is your default doc type. Second one is going to be what is the default tag. Basically, the tag is how the plugin parses template files to find where it should input HTML. Thirdly, we have always render. By default, this is set to false, which basically means not every page loaded out of the server is going to have a theme. But if you set this to true, it will basically run it through the plugin regardless, and that will basically put the HTML head and body tags on your file, regardless if you asked for it or not. And then fourthly, we just have no comments. And basically what no comments does is, we'll get into this a little more in a second, but one of the things the template plugin does is it will load a comments file for the header. If you change this to true, it will basically disable that behavior. So we have it loaded up. I'm going to go back over here to my framework folder, which is what we've been working out of, and this is the file right here that I loaded up. And as you can see, it's still loading up just the same. Just FYI, sometimes when pages are loaded for the first time on the server, it can take a little longer because it's got to cache results. But so there's the file. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to toggle over to Sublime Text, and right here you will see the file. So what we have to do is we got to go into resources. This is the folder we're going to work with. So we'll go ahead and we're going to create a folder called com. We'll create another folder called Chiori-chan. And then under that, we'll create another one called themes. Okay. So then we're going to take this, since this technically is our entire page content, I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Gotta move it. One thing I don't understand is how to move stuff in Sublime. It's kind of weird. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take Thank you. Alright, we're going to take it back and put it down in our themes. And then we're going to rename it to, I don't know, you can name it to anything. So I guess in this case it's actually Portfolio, so hey, let's just keep it Portfolio. Okay? So then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, you're going to open up this Portfolio file, and we're going to find where the page content actually has to end up, where it has to get inserted into the document. As you can see here, we have a few different things. It looks like we have 4 pictures. So if we can just find really any old place to insert. Home and privacy, there's the copyright. Let me use investigator, that's going to tell me. Hello. Maybe not. Anyways, I hate this when stuff doesn't like to cooperate. Ah, here we go. Alright, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 4 pictures out. We'll wipe those out to simply a portfolio container like they end up having right here. It looks like this is a header for the filter. Here's the overall container. And there looks like there's some quoted text at the bottom. So I mean, we could really do whatever. I mean, we can go ahead and we'll go ahead and just wipe this out. Now obviously I've never used this template before. This is just for example's sake. I personally find very easy to use things like Bootstrap on the server. But anyways, what we're going to do here is we're going to put in an HTML comment tag. So we do the word page data. And as you recall, page data was actually in the configuration file for the template. But this is all we have to do, because this basically tells, using an HTML comment tag, we basically tell the template where we're going to print it. It is a little touchy on this, just basically comments with a space on both ends. And then exactly as typed. It is case sensitive, just so you know. So we'll go ahead and, well, we don't have it up yet, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new file. And I'm going to name this, let's just go ahead and name it index.gsp. Just so it loads up as an index. Okay, you can see it's blank. Alright, so now to tell this file that this is the template we want to use, we're going to use a feature in the server called annotations. Now, I'll get into annotations a little bit more later, but the way this works is you basically do the @ theme, com, Chiori-chan, themes, and your portfolio. That's all you have to do. Save it, and then you will see, ta-da! The server will automatically load the portfolio file into that view. Now, I'm going to going back to one of the previous demonstrations. I'm going to type up hello world, for instance. We go ahead and refresh again. And you will see hello world is printed out in the portfolio. Very simple. I mean, this is one of those things that will save hours of development, literally using just a single plugin. It's not hard. So I'm gonna show one last small feature, and not really feature, but one last thing that you can do with these templates. So let's say, something that you can see here is this is HTML and it is being served up like an HTML file. but you can very easily obviously run your template files through the Groovy shell as well. The reason I'm going to do this is because we're going to go to the bottom of the document, find the year footer, and put in the year date. So just as one last demonstration, you'll see that our year gets automatically updated in the template. So this has just been a basic covering of this feature. There's far more that the templates plugin can even do on top of this with manipulation. You can, for instance, say you have portfolio, index, you have a bunch of different ones even. You can go to the next level, and that's basically creating, I don't know, like widgets or included code. And what you can do is then, from inside here, you can go to particular sections in the code and do an include line, which will automatically include that data. Now, one thing I do want to point out really quick here is that, yeah, I did leave in the HTML head and body tags, but because the template plugin actually does this on its own, you'll actually notice that we do have one little problem here, and that's the fact that it's being repeated. Here's a head tag, there's a head tag. You can see that the HTML from this file is being repeated within the body tag of the templates output. In my next tutorial, I'll show how you can actually fix that and actually make the page still render out properly with that. Because the idea is that you don't have to put this information in here. The only reason I left it is because it would be a little bit of a pain in the butt to set it up properly. So, but for the time being, I will see everybody until the next tutorial.